Hello everyone in YouTube world. I normally don't make videos, but today I decided to make a video because I was just actually flipping through YouTube and I noticed that one of the big topics on YouTube is about black men, who they date, black women dating white men, black women no longer trusting black men frustrated with black women. And it's amazing how many videos on YouTube, and I think the black male and black female by far are just constant on YouTube about this subject. So I know there's a ton of videos about it, but there were some things that were said in some of the videos. I do understand. I heard the female side. I watched a lot of female videos of their opinions and their thoughts. I heard the male side, their thoughts, their opinions. And one of the videos that really got my attention was it was called "Frustrated Black Men Going to Brazilian Women." So it was actually a documentary. It was really good. So I watched that, and it was a lot of thoughts from both sides that I heard, and I respect both sides. But I just feel like I just want to put my little 2 cents in. Don't know if it'll make a difference, but I'm gonna leave my comment box open. So if you want to leave comments, you're more than welcome to. I'll respond to them. Like I said, these are my thoughts and opinions. But before I'm done, after hearing all of this, is one thing that I did come to the conclusion about, and I want to tell everyone the absolute best book to read about this subject matter. So, but I'm going to do that at the end. Since this whole thing really revolved around relationships between the black men, black women, and it was actually really discouraging to hear some of the things that was said from black women about black men, about black men, about black women, and that is so public. I mean, it was really hurting to know that this is how we voice our opinions about each other in a public forum like this. And if you're not a strong person, it will really tear you down. So I just want to say that I was really discouraged about that, and I think both sides can handle it better. You know, some of the things that was mentioned in the videos, from the male perspective, you know, that the females don't respect you, the females here are not attentive to the males, black females got attitudes, black females, you know, are not feminine. And then from the female perspective, it was black men don't treat their women right. Black men are not attentive. You know, black men are about game. You know, you can do better with somebody of the opposite race rather than a black man. Black men are not educated enough. There's not enough good black men to go around. So it was a lot. It was a lot. It was a lot from both sides. The biggest thing I heard, though, was the fact that black men and black women are frustrated with each other. And when I talk about this, I'm not talking about those guys out there selling drugs, those men out there, you know, running the streets, getting drunk, beating their wives. I'm not talking about those guys. And the same thing for the women, because I'm not talking about those women who got good men and treat them bad, those cheating women, cheating men, those women who don't care, you know, that don't keep themselves up, that's out there, because there are women who treat men just as bad as men treat women. So it's on both sides. We're not going to play who's the worst victim here, but it's on both sides, and I think we need to acknowledge that. And it's just unfortunate that sometimes a good person will run into that bad person, and it just affects their outlook all the way down. That's all they see anytime they deal with that person. So, but the thing is, relationships have changed. There has been a big change in the way relationships were developed relationships were built, relationships were established than it was when our grandparents, and I'm sorry, when our grandparents and grandfathers and even some of our mothers and fathers were getting into relationships. Dating has changed. So a lot has changed from that time frame to now. One of the biggest things that I see taking place there are two things I think that's really hurting. I'm talking about relationships within the African American community. And right now, what I'm talking about is it doesn't appear that God is truly being allowed into the African American household as it was years ago. And the other thing is, it just doesn't seem like there's something missing. There's something that we've allowed to just lose. And that can cover the whole board of every culture and race. But I know I mentioned the fact that, yes, I do feel like God has been eliminated. God has been limited in the households of the African American. It used to be a strong standpoint within African American that God was a big part of your household. But the other thing is, I think somewhere along the line, we have forgotten the little things that made us strong, that made us able to withstand and be able to maintain a relationship. And I think a lot of that boils down to the fact, when I say the little things, I'm talking about the way we talk to each other, the way we treat each other, the way we encourage each other, the way we support each other. And I'm not talking about materialistic things here. I'm talking about the fact of being able to recognize when your mate has had a bad day and putting yourself aside to take care of them. And also it goes vice versa. Notice I said mate. I didn't say the man putting his side, the woman. Both people should be considerate of each other. If you're both having a bad day, then you take care of each other. It's not about one just doing it all by themselves. But it's we don't observe each other. We don't take care of each other. We don't reach out to each other. We don't have that relationship, that bond that makes our relationship a strong relationship. I'm a big guy when it comes to learning about animals, and one of the animals that I'm really fascinated with is the angelfish. When the angelfish mates, they mate for life. And the thing about the angelfish is, when they have their territory, the male and female, they both will defend it vigorously. They will defend it. And I think we have forgotten how to defend our home, our relationship. And I say this because it just appears that a lot of relationships now, especially in America, and once again, I think this can go across the board, not just pertaining to the African American people, but I think that a lot of relationships now are not built on communication, they're not built on love, but they're built from a business aspect. The communication how we talk to each other, get to know each other, is built on a business aspect. Our loyalty is on a business aspect. How long are you going to be stable? How long can you take care of me? Can you sustain the household? And I don't think this is done intentionally. I think that as we grow and we start to work, when two people come together, there is a need for more. There's going to be a need for more, because that individual expense, there are things that you're now going to be doing for your mate, and your mate's going to be doing for you. So in a sense, we will always want to impress. And what's happening is the American relationships are becoming a limited liability partnership. And it just seems that our relationships are more focused from a business aspect than an actual family aspect, if I'm putting that across correct. I know some people may not agree with this. Like I said, I'm not talking about everybody. I do believe that there are some relationships that are built on love, that are built on friendship and growing, and it's going to last. But it just seems that a lot of the younger relationships that are coming into play now are really built from a business aspect. What are you bringing to the table? And that seems to be the main question. And it's all based on materialistic. There are some women who won't date men unless you're making a certain amount of money. And even men have started to reach that point. They want a woman that's making a certain amount of money. So when it comes to relationships, I think the whole relationship package has changed. And because of that change, it's stressful now to get into relationships. So it does seem like we have more men and more women that are stepping out of the box, if you want to phrase it that way, to find what they consider happiness. And a lot of men are stepping out. One of the things that I heard was some of the guys say they felt that when they meet women overseas, there was more respect for them. They felt more like a man. They was treated like the man they should be treated as. And the women said, well, I'm not going to say the women. One woman said, well, that's because they're all prostitutes in a third world country. Well, first, let me say that's ignorant. Okay? That's disrespectful, because there are some women who work in other countries that are bankers, lawyers, doctors, nurses, wonderful people. And they're not prostitutes. Just as you have legitimate, hardworking women in other countries, you got legitimate, hardworking women in the United States. You have prostitution in other countries. You got prostitution here in the United States. So I don't think it's fair to put all of those women into one category. That's wrong. You don't want that done for American women, you shouldn't do it for women over there. I mean, the bigger thing is, yes, there is a social economic split. But the thing about it is, I can honestly say that when I was overseas, and yes, I did, when you date women or you meet women over there, there is a difference. There's a difference in the way that you're treated. There's a difference in the way that you're spoken to. So, it is. It is. And I do get the fact that, it's another country. I get that. But I think that some of their traditions, as far as relationships and households, have withstood over the years, where our traditions have somehow kind of fell to the wayside, because we're now more looking at things from sort of a business aspect. I mean, but that's just how things are here. Everybody in America is trying to make that dollar. You're trying to survive. You're trying to get to that next level. And in getting to that next level, sometimes it causes us to kind of lose where we're going when it comes to a relationship. I don't like this video. Start it over. Why? Because I don't like it.